Welcome back to our continuing of basic electronics. Here we have our simple circuit connected where we have our battery pack, right, with the red wire or the red line going to the positive power rail, and then the black going to the negative power rail, or what we call the ground. Here we have our simple blue LED with a resistor in the circuit. So we've already covered all of this and how this works in the previous video, one of the previous videos, so you can always go back and check that out. But today we're going to talk about this little guy. This little guy is called a photoresistor. He is a type of variable resistor. You might be saying, hey, what do you mean variable resistor? Well, a variable resistor allows it to simply vary the amount of resistance in the circuit. So we understand that this is a simple resistor and this has a fixed amount of ohms. Ohms is how we measure resistance, and so this is always providing a specific amount of resistance in the circuit. The only way to change the amount of resistance in the circuit would be to take this resistor completely out, replace it with a new one with a different ohm rating. So if I plug that into the positive and then plug this into the long side of our LED, there we go. So now I've changed the amount of resistance because I completely swapped out resistors. Now variable resistors, though, allow the resistor itself to vary the amount of resistance it gives. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to replace our resistor with this photoresistor. And if you look at that, so it is in there. Let me get it down in there real well. Okay. So you see our LED is still on. It's a little dimmer. Now I'm going to show you, watch what happens when I put my finger over the top of the photoresistor. Watch what happens to the light. I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it gets dimmer. That's not the shadow of my finger. That is actually the LED getting slightly dimmer. Let me see if I can actually take a piece of tape and cover it. So here's a little piece of Scotch tape. I can block it out really well. So you can see the LED, it's dimmer, and then when I take the tape off, it's brighter. Maybe if I hold the LED at a different angle too, let's do this angle. You can see when I cover it, the LED gets dimmer. When I let go, it gets brighter. Now it's not me touching it, it's actually blocking the light. So when I block the light, and there if I kind of cover the whole thing, you see the LED gets very, very, very dim. Okay, if I let go, it gets very bright. And the idea is that that's why this is called a photoresistor. So it's the light that comes into this receptacle up here, whatever you want to call it, the top of this. When it absorbs light, it actually decreases the amount of resistance. So when I block off the light, it actually increases the amount of resistance and our light gets dimmer. Now this will be easier to show if I take this and get it a little bit further away from our LED. So let me do that real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug these wires. I'm going to plug one wire into the positive. And so here I'm just connecting this LED through these wires just so we can be a little bit further away from our circuit. So we can see that. All right. So here we go. So hopefully you can still see the photoresistor, and you can see now if I cover it, let me get this wire out of the way. So you can see if I cover this photoresistor up, it gets really dim. If I let the light come back into it, it gets really bright. Now I'm going to show you also, I've got a little flashlight here. So I'm going to shine this flashlight, and you can watch it as I start getting the light, more light exposed to it, the LED gets brighter. Take the light away, it gets dimmer. So you can see that. So as the light increases, the resistance decreases, so it gets bright. So there, that's about as bright as I can get it. I'm shining the light directly into it. And watch, I'll slowly kind of angle the light further and further away, and you can see the LED gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And then if I cover up the photoresistor completely, see it gets very dim. And whoop, there you go. And that is a photoresistor. They're really neat for detecting the amount of light in a room and then doing very useful things based on that. So there you go. And that is photoresistors, and it is our first look at a variable resistor. So we learned about resistors, how they restrict the flow of electricity. This time we're going to work with a different type of resistor, and this is called a variable resistor. A variable resistor, this is the exact same thing I have already plugged into the board down here. They have this little knob that can turn. So you can see I can twist this just like a volume dial on a radio or something like that. It can turn around. And the idea is that as you twist this is a resistor, but it can vary as you twist it. It can increase or decrease the resistance depending on the way you twist it around. Okay, so that's what we have here. This is a variable resistor. These type are called potentiometers. So the way this potentiometer works, if I show you this one that's not connected, it's got 3 pins in there. You connect one pin to positive, one pin to ground. So you connect them to your power source, and then you connect this out to the positive side. Because the idea here is that you're going to allow the electricity to flow out of here, the positive, but you're going to control the resistance. So what we're going to do in our circuit, we're going to take out the normal resistor, which is always a constant set of ohms, and we're going to replace that using the variable resistor. Now, if you look here, the variable resistor I already have connected. So I've got the 3 pins. The 3 pins are in 30, 29, and 28. The 30 is covered up by this little black pin. So this pin 30 is already connected to ground. This pin 28 is already connected to positive. Now this wire looks a little orange maybe on the camera. It's actually red, but that goes to positive. So what we need to do is now we're just going to run our potentiometer, the middle pin, out. I'm going to connect a yellow wire to there, to pin 29, then over to pin 15, which is our long side, our positive side of the LED. Now you might say, well, hey, it's not on right now. Well, that's because we have so much resistance that it is very, very dim, or actually not even on at all. So what I can do is I'm going to use a screwdriver. Hopefully you can see this arrow. The arrow is pointing that way towards the yellow wire right now. And I'm going to start twisting it. And as you see, as I twist this potentiometer, it's decreasing the resistance and adding more power to go through. I'm slowly twisting it. And you should be seeing that LED get brighter and brighter and brighter until it's super bright there. Whoa, and there, and it's mega bright. So let's turn it back to the left. So what you can see here is I'm now twisting this potentiometer back, and as I twist it back, it is going to get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer to there. It's still on barely, and there it is completely off. So this, just like the resistors we worked with before, are restricting the flow of electricity, right? It's resisting the flow of electricity. And we can see that in our LED, because right now it's resisting the flow of electricity so much that you can't even see the LED being turned on. So if I twist it back this way, you should see it slowly start to kick on. So if I can go really slow, you can see it barely kick on slowly. So I am decreasing resistance as I twist this around to the point to where I can have almost no resistance, and it's super bright. There you go. That's as far as I can go. Sorry if it blinds you, but there you go. And then I can twist it back. We're increasing resistance until ultimately we can increase resistance so much that our LED turns off. So these little neat devices are called potentiometers. Okay, so they can vary the resistance. And that's our quick video for today.